I feel like the win for me is
Yeah.
isn't actually attempting to have it all. Does that make sense?
It's in the attempt.
It's the attempt.
The striving.
But in your attempt, you need to have balance.
Of course.
So it wouldn't be a great attempt if you're just chasing the bag.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're even attempting to have that balance in itself is
the win.
Is the win.
Is the win, because it gives, and there's the meaning that comes from that.
And you put the same level of passion
Into
that you
it.
put into one that you put into the other. So the passion that I want to change the world is the same passion I'll use for having a conversation with my mother. And I just wanted her to just literally collapse in laughter. Right? That is my goal, to make her laugh so much. I want her to just enjoy that 15 minutes, 30 minutes interaction that I have with her, to the point where I'm feeding her what she needs and I'm getting it back in return automatically. But at the same time, it's not so much about I'm with her or I'm there, but I'm actually with her type of thing,
There's a book called The Way of the Superior Man, and I read it a lot. Oh, I go back to it.
You're reading some really good books out here. You need to send some stuff. I want you to give us your top 3 books that you're reading this year, or even do you know what?
I've read.
Once you've read, okay. So your top 3 that you've read that our listeners probably should tap into.
Like foundational books. I would say the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I cannot recommend this book enough. It's a guide to happiness and wealth. It was a book that gave me a foundational understanding and framework to operate and do business by too. But also the other part where it's like, because at the end of his advice it says, and when you've achieved all these things, you will realize that it wasn't what you wanted or were chasing in the first place. And you don't want to know how many times I've come to the mountaintop in different areas of my life, and I was like, oh, this is what it was, and I get there and I'm like,
that's not it.
It's not it. So what is it? And it's like, we gotta go do this again, right? And it's like that consistent reinvention, but you're realizing now that is just the life. Like your seasons of your purpose can change, right? So you can be in a season of this, and then there's another season you have to go into, and then there's another season you have to go into, and you have to recognize that this is the process, right? So the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. The second one is The Way of the Superior Man. I think it's a book that I believe definitely every man should read, every woman should read as well.
Okay, I was gonna say,
and because it talks about the difference between, like with men, it's like there's a way we approach the world sometimes where it's very toxic, and we have to unlearn a lot of behaviors, right? If we're going to be good fathers or good husbands, like, or even just being able to interact with women in general, right? And I remember whether it's understanding the difference between your masculine energy or your feminine energy, the difference between hearing what your woman is saying and hearing what she's feeling, and knowing the difference between the two. Because sometimes if you're going off what she's saying, you're like, wait, but you said Tuesday, but this actually happened on Wednesday, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't get lost in the semantics of what she's saying. What is she feeling? And if you hear what she's feeling, you hear it very, very clearly. I'm feeling frustration. I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling desperation. I'm feeling hope. I'm feeling joy. Then you hear it. She's articulating herself quite clearly, right? And I think that plus Brené Brown books. I think the third one, which maybe which one? Daring to be Great, right? By Brené Brown. She has a book like that. But yeah, because I think the way I group books is, it's about frameworks, like how do you mental models, how do you see the world, and how do these things fit into your mental models, because you're still always building out those mental models because it helps you navigate the world, right? And then shows, like I'm a real Vikings show person, like just the idea of just going into the unknown, right? Even when the British or the people came to the New World in America, it's like that, who are the people who would enter that ship? That's an entrepreneur.
What is reading giving you?
It reminds me of who I am. It's like you read books that remind you of who you are, right? And I reinforce that for you, right? So it's like, what are the books that you read, and when you read them, they're like, okay, it's still me. I'm still me. I'm not forgetting who I am, because there have been times in my life that I forgot who I was, right? Whether it's in relationships that did not go as well, and you come out of it and you're like, yo, what is my favorite color? Like, I don't know. Like, I lost myself in this, right? And I no longer know who I am. So I literally have to do the journey of picking up the pieces again and vowing to myself, because you take these vows like, I will never lose myself in another relationship ever again. Like, it's just not going to be a thing.
How many times do you think you've betrayed yourself?
In that particular thing,
yes,
just that once, but in just in general, I mean, probably all the time. All the time, because it's like you make these promises to yourself, and then for whatever reason you compromise and you say this, or like, oh, this is going to be this is going to be that. But for the most part, I think what I came to understand about foundationally for me is, what are my cores, right? The freedom is a core, the solitude is a core, the audacity has to be a core, like all these core things, so that when I meet people, or when I was dating before marriage, it's, oh, we're not aligned. And that before, I wasn't filtering for alignment. I wasn't filtering, like you can filter for compatibility. It's also not necessarily filtering for alignment. Like, do we see the world the same way? I love to travel. I love to be in unknown. Can we operate from that? Or is this something that's going to be a problem for you? And I think even with the freedom thing, is like, some people say that they understand freedom until it's too much freedom. It's like, oh yeah, please, like, come back here. Like, I need to control, do something like that. So I think these are cores for me, right? And those are things I try and hope not to betray. And I think when it comes down to the arena, like actually being in the arena, because it's not about the losses, it's not about loving the wins or the draws. It's really about just knowing what it feels like to be in that arena of life. Win, lose, or draw. We're here. We knew what it felt like to triumph. We know what it felt like to fail. We know what it felt like to be mocked. We know what it felt like to be laughed at. We knew what it felt like to be celebrated with. The entire emotional roller coaster. That's where I want to be.
Eche, do you know what? That was brilliant. I'm feeling a little bit of fire just boiling, just kind of just like being fed inside of me, just listening to you. I really hope that has been inspiring for you guys. You know, one thing that I've definitely taken from this session with Eche is identifying your foundational cores, right? Laying them down, and then teaching yourself how to circle back, to always find them in those moments where you just feel a little bit lost, or you start questioning why you're doing this. So I think just starting off your journey, laying that foundation right, finding ways to always be able to sort of hold yourself accountable so you do not betray yourself. And even in moments of betrayal, learning how to find your way back. I think it's incredibly powerful how he uses books to be able to achieve that for himself. And for those of you who are out there who are watching this episode and you feel like, you know what, this journey is intimidating, this journey is this, but you can also hear from us that as difficult as it is, those foundational cores is always the anchor that we use to get ourselves back to ourselves. So guys, I really hope this episode has been insightful for you. I hope that you have taken from it what I have. It's powerful. I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling excited. So as per usual, guys, please do take care of yourselves, and please don't forget to be extraordinary in the way that only you can be. Take care.